If you are like me, you probably thought to yourself, boy, I wish I got into cryptocurrencies when Bitcoin was just $100.
Yeah, boy.
Well, then this is a video for you. Metaverse is not when Bitcoin was $100, but it is comparable to when Bitcoin was just a concept worth like $0.0001. So there's massive opportunities in the metaverse right now where you can 100x, 1000x your investments, or you can lose absolutely everything. So this is not a financial advice, but hopefully I will give you some information on the metaverse and help you find the right place for you in the metaverse, in the investments, and see how you can make some money there. Hi guys, Alex here. This is the Financial Pickle, and today we're looking at what is a metaverse, how you can make money there, how does it look like, and what investments you can make there that will make you some sweet returns. So let's dig in and find out. So what is a metaverse? Well, metaverse at the moment offers boundless opportunities, much like crypto in its developing stages. And because of this, it is very loosely defined. If you go online, there will be different definitions for it because there is no concrete understanding what a metaverse really is. However, there are some definitions floating around which I think are useful. You can divide the digital world into three categories. You have online worlds, multiverses, and metaverses. These are the three categories that Raph Koster devised, and he is a proclaimed game designer who's famous for Star Wars Galaxies and Ultima Online, amongst other things. So he clearly knows what he's talking about, right? So let's see what each of those mean. Online worlds are just digital spaces, anything from rich 3D environments to text-based websites. So anything you find online at the moment can be a online world. Multiverses are different worlds which are connected by a network but have different themes and rule sets, much like Ready Player One Oasis. You can think about multiverses as in Rick and Morty, you know, you open a portal to a different universe that can be either very, very similar or completely different, where it looks nothing like the place you came from and completely different rules apply in terms of the law and physics and anything else pretty much. Metaverse, on the other hand, integrates more into the real world so that you can go online into the metaverse, but you can interact with the real world. For example, you can buy something that will be delivered to your actual physical address. You can take things out of the metaverse or put them in from the real world. And we'll talk about some interesting projects which allow you to do that in our next video. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and yeah, let's dig in further. Now let's look at what you can actually do in the metaverse. I think a picture paints 1,000 words, words, obviously. So let's have a look at the actual gameplay and see what you are dealing with here. We're going to decentraland.org whenever it decides to load. Obviously, get started. It is a bit slow, but it is more likely than not that my internet is just not as good as it could be. Thank you very much, London. Continue as a guest. You don't need to actually have an account to start exploring the metaverse, which is great. Keep in mind, I have logged into this before, so I have created an avatar, which you will have to do. You can click like, just do whatever, and it will randomize how you look. So I think that's what happened with mine, but that's why it loads relatively quickly. When you will first log in, you will have to create your own avatar, how it looks like. So this is my guy. This is how it looks like, and this is the main square, circle on the metaverse. It is laggy as hell. I think it's mainly to do with my internet connection. So you can roam around. If you jump into the center, you'll get to like an area where you just hang out with other people. Here are just things that are happening, so you can jump to different locations and see what's what. For example, events up, and you can go, whoa, jump in. Okay, anyhow, let's jump into the coffee shop. Off we go, transporting into a different world. I know it looks super weird and shitty, but it's just the beginning. And here you can basically chat to people, write to them in the chat. The idea is that in the future you'll be able to buy things. You know, everything that you see here, you'll be able to buy, like this NFT, for example. You'll be able to click on it and buy it. A plant, for example, you'll be able to click on it and buy it delivered to your home. So, holy shit, what is this? Weird things like this. This may look disappointing because of the graphics and you probably expect something better, but it is what it is. Remember, this is just the beginning. We don't even have a proper definition of a metaverse. It's much like Bitcoin, which was the first cryptocurrency, well, widely accepted, should we say, which is slow, it is expensive, and it's difficult to mine. And now we have the things like Ethereum, Polkadot, new versions of Ethereum, Chainlink, and many other cryptocurrencies, which are much easier, much faster, much cheaper, and so on and so forth. So much like that, different metaverses will emerge and are emerging as we speak right now, with better graphics, better design, different aspects of the metaverses tailored to different interests and different tastes. So we'll see much more variations of metaverses, and there's definitely going to be one which suits you. So how you can make money in the metaverse right now. It looks pretty confusing, but there's pretty much 3 players on the market at the moment. Decentraland, which is the first one out there, so it is very popular. We have Sandbox, which has a little bit more functionality and basically is like a blockchain Minecraft. And we have Axie Infinity, which is straight up a game, but in which you can make like 5 grand a month. I know, it's insane. When I found out about it, I was like, what do you mean 5 grand a month in the fucking game? Makes no fucking sense, but can be done literally within like 2, 3, 4 weeks. You can start making a decent money there, assuming you put in some money into the game as well, but we'll talk about this later. So, how you can make money in the metaverses, all of which I have described? Well, there are 3 ways. You can buy something and wait for it to appreciate in value. You can rent something that you buy or build, and you can create something and sell it for profit, or again, rent it. The most headlines that you will read about making money in the metaverses is about land, which basically means, like in the real world, you buy a piece of land that costs you, say, $1,000, and then you sell it for like 2.4 million. May sound insane, but has been done. Here's a proof. Pretty much. A question arises, why the fuck would anyone pay $2 million for a piece of digital land? Just make more. Right. Well, the idea of metaverses, they kind of thought this through, and they have a limited amount of space. Not all metaverses, by the way, have that, but the main ones we're talking about here, which is Decentraland and Sandbox, have a very limited amount of space that you can buy. For example, in Decentraland, you have only 90,000 pieces of land, and that is it. There is never going to be more. In Sandbox, there is 166,464 land pieces that you can buy, and that is it. There will be no more. So obviously the scarcity creates the demand. If there's only 90,000 pieces and they're all sold and you want one, well, guess what? They will cost you more than somebody bought it for originally. And when we're talking about the prices of land, that shit ain't cheap. It's not like buying it for 50 bucks. It costs real money. And to give you an example of how much things cost in the metaverse, the cheapest land you can buy in Decentraland is 5,000 Ethereum. That is insane. That is the cheapest one. There are places that go for 250k and much higher than that. So bear in mind, it is not cheap to start owning land, even in the metaverse right now. That's how crazy things are. A fair question comes up is, why the fuck would anyone want to buy anything there? Well, it has been a big push for Decentraland and for the metaverses in general, and many big companies are adopting to it. You know, there have been concerts of real people in the metaverses, so to speak, in Fortnite, for example. Similarly will happen in Decentraland, but it needs to happen somewhere. So if you own a land which is interesting, close to the center of the city, for example, right? I know. Then you can rent it out to artists who can perform on the stage, for example, or you can build like a big house or an arena where people can perform or do certain things, much like in the real world. Or for example, there are companies which building malls in metaverses right now, and they need land. So guess what? If you have a piece of land that they need, you can sell it to them at a premium or rent it to them, for example, if it also works for them. But this is not it. We're gonna get to the craziest parts in a few moments. Before that, there is also a way that creators can make money. Metaverse is all about creator economy, and it's all about creating things for people to buy. In Decentraland or in Sandbox, you can create accessories, you can build things. For example, you can create a hat, or you can build an animal that follows a person. And by animal, I mean like anything, like a star, for example, that costs like, I don't know, 10 Ethereums, you know, 30 grand there, that can follow follow people, and specific clothing accessories like shoes, pants, hats, cigars, sunglasses, anything and everything that you can come up with. There's also digital galleries inside the metaverse, places where people can showcase their NFTs. And I kid you not, eventually it will be a paid sort of thing to go to, like to a museum in the real world. You will go into a metaverse to visit a museum of very expensive art. Well, at this point, you're probably thinking all of this sounds like a lot of very weird bullshit. But keep in mind, this is actually real. Let's talk about another metaverse, which is called Axie's Infinity, which is a game in which players can make like, I don't know, $3,000–$4,000 a month of pretty much a passive income. This is not a sale, and I don't encourage you to go and try it out, but this is my impression of what I have seen, and I'm like, wow. So there's a guy called Connor Kenny. I advise you to go and watch his video about the Metaverses, which is interesting, and also about how to make money in the Axie Infinities. And he shows from zero how he invested the money, how much money he's making every month. And his total right now, when I watched him a couple of months ago, was about $2,500 a month he makes doing pretty much nothing. The game itself is you basically buy free animals and then you go and fight into arena online versus other people. But to get the animals, you can either buy them, but they're pretty expensive. They can cost up to like $10,000 for one animal, which is insane. Also, this animal is an NFT that you can sell on OpenSea, for example. So you can play it online in the game, or you can sell it later on the OpenSea, or you can sell it within the marketplace on Axie's Infinity. If you want, you can buy, say, 3 or 4 of those Axies, and you can rent them out to people who can't afford to buy them. And then every time they battle, they win, they get some of the cryptocurrencies of Axie Infinity, and then you split it 50-50, and that's how you can make passive income. Sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. This is the future. It is play to earn sort of era. So there's going to be many games coming out where you can make money by playing the game. And there's also an interesting project that lets you earn money by playing your favorite games like Fortnite or League of Legends or some other game, whatever game you want. I will talk about it in my next video. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. So it sounds very crazy that you can make a ridiculous amount of money from the metaverse, which is just a digital world, which costs nothing pretty much. It's like there's no value there. But remember, we as a consumers assign the value to things. It's like why Dolce & Gabbana bag costs $1,000 or $2,000. Not because it's made of the materials that cost that much, but because people are willing to pay for it. And the price is only what people are willing to pay for it. So if people are willing to pay $1,000 for a bag, guess what? The bag costs $1,000. Similarly, in the metaverses and in other worlds, if something seems to cost $10,000 and people are willing to pay $10,000 for it, well, guess what? It costs $10,000 without any underlying support for why it actually costs that much. So it's not too late to get in. This is actually the perfect time to get into the metaverses, but be aware that this is the same time as when the cryptocurrency market was just starting out. And a lot of those metaverses that are starting out right now might not be there, 1 year, 2, 5 years down the line. They might just disappear into nowhere like many altcoins already have done. So keep that in mind and be careful. Do your research. Don't rely on people like me online on your investment strategies. And I hope that you will make your millions in the new opportunity of the century, which is the metaverses. All right. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know what you think about Metaverses. Would love to know your opinion. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
We gotta make them right, chillin' with mine. We triple up, they on a double up, triple dub. Came from the basement, we only going up. They loving us. Up in the booth, I'm getting dizzy, but they the cup is up. Toast to my people that's on the come up, and you live with us.